All right, here we go. Wednesday. We're not effing around here. Podcast. Soren, Petro, Cofield. We're live. We have no game plan as to what we're talking about. I just tweet out random nonsense.
Is that how it works?
Well, I tweeted out earlier Steph, Javi, Mike Tomlin, Havarti. So we may get to all of it, or we may get to none of it. Most recently, I texted out Bronx Bummers and Dickie V. So we might talk about that too, or we might not. This gets crazy, man. When you're not effing around, we bring the pain, and I don't know where the pain's going to come from or where it's going to. I am going to start out with, I just went to the liquor store.
Okay.
As I was told by the SO, hey, we're low on drinks.
So, like, does a alarm go off in your house?
I don't know. I wish it did when I was driving home, but I walked in. I was like, all right, well, let me go back out. All right. This broken ankle thing's going to end pretty soon at some point. Anyway, I go to the liquor store. I buy some stuff. What are your big liquor store chains in Kansas and Missouri? What are the main chains?
We have one that like the superstore that's over here by my house, Lucas Liquors.
Okay.
Lucas Liquors Superstore.
Havarti, yes. Some cheese talk later on. And that's it? No competition?
I don't know. I mean, there's Gomer's and, but you're talking about big, like a big box store kind of size liquor store.
Yeah. Those kind
Lucas
of
Liquors. That's Lucas Liquors.
Okay.
There is another one that I can think of that's like, bigger than like the size of like big grocery stores.
Right.
Yeah, there's 2 locations, Lucas Liquors.
Oh, wow. You guys are cheated. We have a little competition here. We've got a local place called Lee's Discount Liquors. They're nice Korean gentlemen. And then Total Wine, I don't know what they are. But
let me take that back because I don't know. Like in the Northland, somebody might be like, "Oh, what are you talking about? The Gomer's up here is like 400,000 square feet." I who do you go on a tour all over all parts of town to see where the big stores are? Or do you know what's near your house?
I mean, it's a small town. I mean, our population's big, but there's not much room. Those are the 2 big chains, and then there's a couple others. Liquor World is trying to make some inroads. No, but the 2 big ones, like
Liquor
really big warehouse places, are Lee's, and they dominated for the longest time. And then Total Wine came in. I don't believe that this is a chain or a big box store. Jim Bob's Moonshine and Live Worms. I mean, I'd like to sell that.
Good spot. It's a good spot.
You hillbillies.
If you need some date, while you're making it happen.
What about High V?
Okay. Yeah. I not that I know of. Like I said, I mean, like who knows? Who the hell knows what's across town for who? Like I said, what, somebody do a tour?
I figure
45 minutes across town. How the hell do I know? I know what's close to my house.
I figure of all guys, you would know all the big liquor places, and you. Last week, all you talked about was saving money. I figured you're trying to save money on your booze.
I do what I can, Steve.
We're on a budget here, man.
I don't know why I'm being picked on here tonight.
Well, I basically
see that on the rundown we didn't do.
I know. The random things come to me as I encounter the people. I wanted to ask basically at your what is it called, Lucas? Do they have a rewards program? Because our place, Lee's, has a rewards program. I think rewards programs are nice.
I have no beef with rewards programs. Is there a point? Are you going somewhere with this?
Totally, absolutely, yes. What's your grocery store? The one don't you advertise from one of them? That's like real fancy.
Hen House, they're phenomenal.
Does Hen House have like a little card? You get little rewards. You get money off.
Yes. Grocery store. Yes, the rewards card. You get a discount on all kinds of things around the store. Go to the salad bar. I think if you go to the salad bar 10 times, you get a salad free. Same
salad bar. There's a salad bar. There's still a salad bar in a pandemic?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So they have like gloves. They have extra sneeze guards around it.
Really?
And you have to have gloves. You have to have a sanitized station, and you have to put on like these plastic gloves.
I feel like we're never getting.
My home hen house has a what do they call it? Mongolian barbecue.
They make it fresh.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's
table nice. With the where they throw it all out there, and you give them the bowls, and they put it out there, and it's the greatest grocery store I've ever been in my life. Hen House, 19th in a row. It's awesome.
I think I'm sorry, I stepped over your live read there. I feel like your convenience stores are pretty, like, we have a lot of them, but they're a little bit lazy in terms of the extravagance. What's your big place there that I love? The coffee.
You love the Quick Trip.
Unlimited creamer.
You know, a lot of convenience stores, Steve, have the rollers.
Yeah.
With a hot dog on it. They have like 12 or 15 rollers. And they've modernized their stores, and they buy up the best corners, and they have like, 20 pumps. And then they'll have like, hot dogs, brats, different hot, but then taquitos, and I don't even know what some of the things are there. I mean, that are rolling on that thing, and then they have like a little pizza stand where you buy pizza by the slice, and then all your normal convenience store sundries.
Yeah.
They're pretty nice, right?
I'm amazed. We do not have we have a lot of different outlets here for convenience stores, but they're not really competitive with each other to take it to the next level.
So they've tried to come in. People don't like how Quick Trip is dominating because they're corporate owned. They don't franchise out. So that's one of the reasons they maintain the quality. Like first of all, they pay their cashiers, and the cashiers are like nails, right? They get you up, and like they're always stocking shelves and doing things. But as soon as there's like two people in line, the second cashier comes, then another cashier and another cashier, and they might have four people, and they don't have like their own drawer. We got to count it down because Steve's always got the sticky fingers with the fives. They'll grab any register and start firing you out there. They can handle all the credit cards. They know how to do the lottery thing. They know where the smokes are, the dip. So no matter what, some guy comes up there that you're usually like, good Christ, how long are we going to stand here for this? They got it all. They rock and roll because they're corporately owned, and they're not screwing around and let their quality go down the shitter with a bunch of franchisees that are half-assed and putting one person in the store.
I think I know where Waniac is going here. Waniac, KC. Amazing, but the parking lot is the Thunderdome. What's Thunderdome? Is that basically a dump of cars? It is a scary place because there's so many pumps, and there's so many people going in different directions, and there's so many pickup trucks.
And traffic and people backing out from that are just coming in for sundries, and then the gas pumps are coming out, and they're usually on they buy really busy corners, and people are trying to get in and out, and who, like, all the guys the yard crews, right, and landscapers are always there. So like you're trying to pull out, and there's like a plumbing truck, and then there's a guy pulling a trailer with 3 stand-up mowers and 2 push mowers, and he's trying to make the turn. And they take up the whole space with pumps, the building, and the parking spaces. So some of the turns are kind of tight turns. And I give it to the guys who whip these trucks around, pulling all these mowers and all this equipment and gear and any other kind of outside construction. They're all in there because they're like, hey, we're going to grab something for lunch at QT and keep working. And so, yeah, it is. The Thunderdome is awesome.
Yeah. Tonight's show is about gas stations. We've got another 40 minutes of gas station talk.
It is.
No, basically, our big liquor store here, Lee's Discount Liquor, they have a rewards program. They ask you for your phone number every time. And the guy tonight was like, "Hey, you got a lot of points on here. You want to, you think about using your rewards?" And he's like, "Yeah, you got 993 points on here. At 500, you get some money off." He's like, "Yeah, you get $5 off. So you're up to 900. You get $9 off." And I just looked at him. I'm like, "All right," and I just left. I'm like, am I expecting too much? 993 is just short of $1,000. I will get
$1. I'm taking it.
Yes, I will get $9 off, or 10 when I get to the magical number of 1,000.
Have you seen? Do you know what you get for Amex points for flying?
I think it's better. I hope.
It's not much.
Okay.
I actually don't think it is.
I feel like I'm doing well. I have a Southwest card. I feel like I'm doing well.
I have one of those. That's a backup. But I got the Amex on the pitch. Well, first of all, you tie it up into your bank and your investment and whatever, and you get different little perks. But the pitch was, if you ever fly first class international, you can buy 1 ticket, get 1 free. And I'm like, well, I don't fly first class, but if I could get 2 for 1,
yes,
and pay for points, then it's worth it. But now I'm realizing I have to charge everything until I'm 90 years old, and I'll have enough points for 1 first class ticket international. So I'm like, I have like I won't say $1 billion, right? But whatever I have, like virtually everything I have, charge is all just sitting there waiting for this mythical trip that I'm going to drop dead of a heart attack long before I ever get a take.
Wait, what? You get 4% cash back on gas at Costco. Is that on a Costco card?
Yeah, they kick it back. If you have Costco, they do have cheap gas at the Costco. That is a good deal. But a lot of things you might have to go wait in line because there are some people that that's the only place they'll go.
Oh, the lines. They're outrageous. Outrageous. Okay, that's all I have.
An ass, or do you not have Costco?
Well, I have a Costco card, but I don't have a Costco credit card. I figured you need a Costco credit card
No,
to
you
get
just use your Costco card.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe I'll choose to wait in that line. They're long lines here in Vegas, so we shop at Smith's here in town, so I like the Smith's rewards. So there you go.
Yeah.
As people will learn as they tune into Petro and his sidekick Cofield, I like to talk value and bargains. I think about money all the time.
My faithful sidekick, my Tonto.
Yes.
My Lone Ranger, if you will.
Let's get to some football news. I may have shocked some of the audience today. I was talking about Nick Sirianni, the Eagles head coach, who was kind of joking around about his draft analysis and said with some of the prospects, he wanted to see how they compete. So he played rock, paper, scissors. And I told the Vegas audience today, I've heard about this game many times. I've never played it. I don't know what I would do if a coach was like, let's play rock, paper, scissors. I might tell him to F off and probably plummet in the draft.
First of all, you absolutely know what rock, paper, scissors.
We never played it as kids.
1, 2, 3, go.
I don't know it.
Paper beats rock. It wraps around rock. Rock crushes scissors, and scissors cuts paper.
I grew up on the mean streets of the Jersey Shore. My game was carrying a knife and not getting knifed.
Yeah, it was tough.
That was it.
Yeah,
You're not playing games with your hands.
It was 3-card monte.
Yes, it's a head on a swivel all the time. We were rolling dice in the streets at 4 years old. I seriously never played rock, paper, scissors. So when I saw the reference, I was like, well, I guess I'm out, man.
You literally have never heard of rock, paper, scissors.
I've heard of it, but every time someone brings it up, I'm like, I don't know. I don't care. I don't get it. I don't know why Nick Sirianni's fascinated with it. And I don't think it indicates whether you can compete or not.
Listen, did you hear the bite or did you just read it?
That's a good point. I'm guessing he did it very sarcastically, but my story...
No, it didn't get better when you heard it.
Yeah, he's not a smooth operator.
You're talking about a guy who cut his teeth initially in the league or very soon after he got in the league as a quality control coach and then a wide receiver coach for Todd Haley in Kansas City.
Oh, boy.
And so what I heard today was some Todd Haley.
Yeah.
And I think Todd Haley could be a successful head coach. I've heard some stories about being late to training camp because he went up to Omaha to a concert and didn't make it back in time. That's your head coach. That would seem to be a problem. We know of the things that happened in Pittsburgh. Him and his wife apparently pulling fixtures off the walls of their rental house. And then he got into a fight and got knocked unconscious after allegedly his wife started an altercation in a bar just across the street from Heinz Field. I will tell you that I really liked talking to Todd Haley. Got to hang out with him at the American Century Championships in Tahoe. Fun guy. Wife was very nice. But these are the stories that have happened. I'm not breaking any news here, but Todd Haley came into Kansas City and wanted to be Bill Parcells without building the resume of Bill Parcells. Challenging players. He got all this run for being able to go back and forth yelling and screaming with Anquan Bolden was it the NFC Championship game against the Eagles, or was it the divisional game against the Rams, or against the Packers, maybe against Aaron Rodgers? No, was that Bruce Arians? Whatever it was, but he had the altercation on the sideline en route to the Cardinals going to the Super Bowl, and he was the offensive coordinator. And while he's calling plays, he's having it out with Anquan Bolden on the sidelines, and that somewhat made him. And everyone's like, "Look at him! He's having an argument, and he's still calling all these great plays, and everything's going on." That got him the job. And so then he came in and would challenge guys like he was Bill Parcells, like he'd won championships, and it was his way or the highway. And I hear Nick Sirianni talking about this like, "Oh yeah, we're ahead of the curve. We're the smartest guy in the room." Type of thing. Like when you're a first-year head coach, I don't know that that's the way you make your name. First of all, this is asinine.
Even better, you're in Philadelphia.
Yes.
Rock, paper, scissors references in Philadelphia? Good luck.
listen, I like you have to win. And all they care is if you win. And I think to go out there and start talking shit, lame shit at that.
Yep. Yeah.
Not a good way to get it going in Philly. And you think Jalen Hurts is the guy? You think you're going to come out and start 7-1?
No.
Because I'm not seeing it.
Well, that was the other thing. He tried to be kind of coy today, and he was like, yeah, there's competition at every position. So then Schefter runs with it. He's like, Sirianni will not name Jalen Hurts the starter. Okay, it ain't Joe Flacco. So let's not play games here. Because that one's not going to go. I'm telling you, these guys who come into certain markets and they don't know the way the market works from a media standpoint and a fan standpoint, dude, back off and talk to some locals. Like, they're shit you just don't pull. Just be straightforward. Just coach. Don't try to be a smart ass or some domineering figure or a funny guy until you win.
His first year, Todd Haley's first year in Kansas City, they benched Derek Johnson and made him a third down linebacker. One of the best linebackers to ever play for the Kansas City Chiefs. And we're talking about a team that had Derek Thomas, Willie Lanier, Bobby Bell, all go to the Hall of Fame, playing the linebacker position. And Derek Johnson is right there. Donnie Edwards played here for a long time, played at a really high level. Derek Johnson's on that level, right? He was a middle backer, didn't get a bunch of sacks, and he couldn't catch, so he dropped a boatload of interceptions. But, that would be fantastic.
The Haley family, Greg Marshall's family, and Family Feud.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Did I ever tell the story? It was a matter of public record, so I'm not speaking out of turn. Have I ever told you the story about Haley and his wife at the American Century Championship?
You did, but we could use a refresher.
His round of golf?
Yes.
So he's teeing off on the first or second hole. And the American Century Championships in Tahoe is the celebrity golf tournament. You see beautiful backdrop of Lake Tahoe in the background. Nice, Kevin. I
mean, in this, what the funny thing is, in this league, it could be as stupid as that.
Well,
he didn't play along. He's not very cooperative. He didn't want to play rock, paper, scissors.
Who's your audience? Who's your audience and trying to get a job? 60-year-old white guys, right? 70-year-old white guys.
We love rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah. I played it as a kid for years. So, I don't know, second or third hole, we're walking around the course and we're watching. We're not on the air, and so we're watching. Like, let's go see Haley. Let's see how he's hitting the ball. And they like to get guys, and they've done well. So, it's coming off his, division championship year in Reed started at 13, 12, 11, 10, 2010. He was 10-6, won the division, going 2-4 in division, by the way. Went undefeated against a horrible NFC West. And so he gets invited to the American Century Championships. Former golf coach, did not play college football. I don't think he even played high school football. Was a golf coach at one point. Was a golf scholarship golf player in college. So, let's go see Haley's game. He's got to be pretty good, right? Let's go see him hit. So he comes out there and he hits a drive. Really nice drive. His wife is standing on the sidelines, and I don't know why, but she's holding two drinks, and she's holding them like this. It's almost like she had them and somebody handed it to her, and she's just standing there holding these two drinks from the bottom. And he hits the drive, and people are like, ooh, wow, nice drive. And he looks over and he goes, it'd be nice to get a little effing support, except he didn't say effing. Right? And she's standing there holding the drink. She goes, I'm holding two effing drinks. I was like, well, this has got to be a fun atmosphere. This got to be a fun family, some get-togethers. What are the holidays like at the Haleys? So you tell me the Haleys and Marshalls? Yes, the greatest Family Feud matchup ever.
What's funny is I heard.
But I want to reiterate, both Haley and his wife, super people. They were fun to talk to, down-to-earth people. But, I mean, there's some fire there. They are, I believe, still married. I mean, they were at least in Pittsburgh. It's why he got KO'd at the bar.
It's funny. I heard Todd Haley tonight on Sirius XM. He was doing a draft show with Rhett Lewis was the lead host, and then it was Rick Neuheisel, and they were talking about their experience in the NFL when it came to the draft. And Haley told a story, but in the end, it was just like, I was with the Cardinals, and we took Levi Brown and Adrian Peterson. We passed on them. I was like, all right, good story. Now, Neuheisel's story was great. Neuheisel said, whatever year it was, that their pick is up in 2 picks. Bisciotti, the owner's like, hey, what do you think of this Brady Quinn guy? Can you work with him? And Newhousel's like, yeah, I can work with him. So the pick's up in 2 picks. They said Daniel Jeremiah walks out of the room, supposedly gets on the phone with his mom to ask about some Little League score. The Browns then trade in front of the Ravens and take Brady Quinn. Jeremiah had already agreed to take a job with the Browns. And Newhousel's like, I don't know that he leaked it, but like the interrogation room was on. People were pissed.
Yeah, well, did they thank him later?
That's a good story.
That is a good story. Did they thank him later?
That, you know what? Of course, the lead host never got to that because that's what made it funny that he actually saved your asses.
Yes. Who they end up taking in Baltimore?
I don't know. I got to look it up. They never got to that either. So, sometimes lead hosts just kind of fall asleep. Like, get to the important details.
Oh, I remember, I think there was Dale Carter when Dale Carter left town, and I can't remember, did he go to New Orleans or where did he go? But the bidding was going, and the Chiefs like, all right, we're out. But he went to the Broncos. It was because it was the Broncos. And so they got to this point. This is where they were done on Carter. And the Broncos went here, and the Chiefs kept throwing offers in that they were going to like be like, oh, no, but we got to have this and this and this, and then going to bail. They were done. And they ran the Broncos up like another year and $12 million just making sure that they overpaid for Dale Carter. Like, those are the fun things that go on in the NFL that you hear about years after the fact that are always good to hear.
By the way, I told the story poorly, or they did. Ravens had 29. Browns moved up to 22, jumped in front of Kansas City, took Brady Quinn. Ravens don't get him. Quinn obviously turns out to be a flop. And you guys in Kansas City got Dwayne Bowe.
He's had the best until recently, he had the best single season in Chiefs history. He actually helped them get to the playoffs and go 10-6, 9-7 and make the playoffs in Herm Edwards' first year. He had a 1500. Actually, under Todd Haley, he had his best year. He was like 12 or 1,300 yards and 15 touchdowns.
After him was Brandon Merriweather, John Beeson, Anthony Spencer, Joe Staley. He turned out pretty good. He was 28. Ravens got Ben Grubbs, Greg Olson, tight end, went 31, and Congressman Anthony Gonzalez went 32.
Joe Staley's the guy I wanted the Chiefs to take. Trying to get a left tackle.
Good call.
Yeah.
He was okay.
Yeah, he was fine for like a decade.
Pretty solid as
left tackle.
The freaking 28th pick in the draft.
Yeah.
Did anyone else good go after that? Not bad.
Oh, there's always somebody good.
Yeah. Ryan Khalil, Lamar Woodley, Eric Weddle, tight end Zach Miller.
What year is this?
2007. Top of the draft was
Marcus Russell.
Yepers. And Calvin Johnson would have sucked with the Raiders, right? Joe Thomas, another good offensive lineman, but then Gaines Adams and Levi Brown.
Dwayne Bowe, 7,000 yards, 44 touchdowns. And is now a semi-successful rapper.
Is that right?
Came in, yep. You can look it up. He's not bad. And came into the studio with our morning show at 7:30 in the morning, and he smelled like a bong.
Nice.
He's big on the weed and the cannabis, and he promotes it heavily, and he enjoys it heavily, which I don't care. I'm just saying. Good dude, though.
Yeah. Nice. I talked about Mike Tomlin. We were just talking about Sirianni.
Yeah.
Talked about Mike Tomlin yesterday. What are your thoughts on Mike Tomlin signing his extension out to 2024?
So this is the way I put it today. Listen, the Steelers had no choice. And were I the Steelers, I would have extended Mike Tomlin. First of all, let me say this. I'm a huge Mike Tomlin fan. I think he's an outstanding football coach, a great football coach. I think he is, without a doubt, the coolest coach that's ever walked the sidelines.
Yeah.
From the puffy coat, undone, gold chain and cross hanging around his neck, the look on his face. He is the epitome of cool. Like, he is, he's Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction cool. His wallet says bad MFer, right? So I love everything about Mike Tomlin. That being said, I believe that Mike Tomlin and Bill Belichick are incredible things to watch right now, because I think in a lot of ways, I think they're dinosaurs. Because I firmly believe you cannot win. Like in the NFL, you should hire only offensive coaches. Like our morning show talked about, would you take Tomlin or this guy? Tomlin or this guy? And they were going through this the other day. It was a great segment, and it had me thinking like, okay. And I was like, McVay or Tomlin? Well, you say Tomlin because the record's better. He's been to 2 Super Bowls, not just one. He's won one. But let's see.
Wait. Did they say they said Tomlin?
They said Tomlin.
Well, I don't know. I love Mike Tomlin, but we're talking about the boy genius. Come on now.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're being facetious, but I mean,
no, I'm really not. I as much as I love Mike Tomlin, I think Sean McVay is the future of the NFL. The NFL apparently thinks he's the future because everything he breathes on gets a job.
Yeah.
And right now, from an age standpoint, I'm going to take Sean McVay. I'll get back to Mike Tomlin, but I really
Tomlin's 49.
I know. That's the amazing thing.
He's not old.
He's younger than me.
Yeah.
Like I say, I'm old. I ain't that old for a head coach. He started when he was 12.
Yeah. But here's my point. When Ben Roethlisberger went down, I thought he did a great job. Everyone's like, I think he could have been coach of the year 2 years ago, but he was 8-8.
Yeah.
And so so my point is this: like, what's going to happen when Ben Roethlisberger's gone? What's going to happen if Ben Roethlisberger's done? Right. And so, look, the quarterback's the most important part of the equation for everybody. But how many coaches currently in the NFL can you say have proven that they can win consistently? And by win, I mean go to the playoffs consistently without a Hall of Fame quarterback?
Well, you've already mentioned it. Arguably the greatest coach in NFL history really is Joe Gibbs.
Well, I will make that case. I've said it many times. 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks, none of which are going to the Hall of Fame. Jim Harbaugh, I think, is underrated because he won a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco, right? But the answer to my question,
John Harbaugh,
yeah. The answer to my question is Andy Reid's the only one. Now, he had good quarterbacks, but Donovan McNabb is not going to the Hall of Fame, and he sucked the moment he left Andy Reid, and everybody goes, "Oh, well, he was old. He was 33, bite ass." All right, he was not cooked, and he went to Mike Shanahan, not exactly an offensive moron.
Right.
And then he went to the Vikings under a guy who studied under Andy Reid, Brad Childress, as his coach, and he sucked there too. All right, so I don't want to hear it. And he got Alex Smith, a guy who lost his job to Colin Kaepernick, who many people in this country say can't play quarterback. And he lost his job to him. And those are the guys he went to the Super Bowl. He went to the playoffs with. He went to the playoffs with Mike Vick, with Jeff Garcia, the remains of Jeff Garcia at the end of his career. I think even was there a Detmer year that he finished up the year going in with Detmer. So my point is this: like, unless you're the best, and the best offensive guy can take a good quarterback and get you there, the best defensive guy can do a hell of a job and go 8-8. And here's the thing: even if you get it right with the offensive coordinator, because let's see what's going to happen in Pittsburgh. They've got a new offensive coordinator this year. And if you're a defensive coach and you get it right with the offensive coordinator, and then he leaves and takes another job, and your quarterback doesn't like that guy, he's pissed now. The precedent's being set. You can shoot your way out of town if you don't like the setup. Pete Carroll's the defensive coach, and his quarterback sideways with him right now. So, let's see what Tomlin does here moving forward. What's Bill Belichick done when he hasn't had Tom Brady? What did he do last year? 7-9 with Cam Newton, right? 11-5 with Matt Castle, missed the playoffs.
Right.
What was he? 5-11 with Drew Bledsoe, no playoffs. There's 3 times he didn't have Brady with the Patriots. And then in Cleveland, he made the playoffs 1 year with Vinny Testaverde, missed it the rest. And the other thing is Andy Reid knows what a quarterback looks like. Matt Castle's not it. I'll go give 2 second-round picks, which everybody said he was an idiot to give 2 second-round picks for Alex Smith. And he went to the playoffs in 13, 15, 16, and 17. 4 out of 5 years that Alex Smith was a quarterback, he was in the playoffs. And he went 9-7 the year he didn't go. So, I don't think, maybe Mike Tomlin or Bill Belichick are going to make a move in this draft and come away with a quarterback, and maybe it's not going to be one of these top 5 guys, and they're going to get a guy, and they're going to be back on top. We're going to be like, okay, those guys can identify quarterbacks. But I think you're much more likely to be able to know who the right quarterback is if you have an offensive coach.
Well,
so
I think
my point is to you have to re-sign Mike Tomlin. You can't let him go into the last year of his deal. And if you didn't, he'd be like, I'm out of here. Fire me. I'm not doing this shit because I'm not going to be a lame duck coach because that's bad news with the players. So you either extend me or you fire me. So if you fired him and hired somebody else, you would be skewered by your fans.
Right.
So you really had to keep him around. And my point is, like, I think at the end of the day, he's going to end up being, about like what would you say he's going to do the next 5 years? We played this game. How many wins? 17-game season. How many wins? How many playoff seasons the next 5 years? You got Roethlisberger, what's left of him, in all likelihood, for one season, and then the unknown at quarterback, or Mason Rudolph. How many wins do you have next 5 years?
Next 5 years, 2 playoff appearances, a record of 44-41.
Yeah. I mean,
it's goddamn 17-game seasons. I don't even think I got it right. 5, what is that? 5, 17? No, I got it wrong. No, I got it right. 85 games, 44-41.
Yeah. So, I think that's about where I'm at too. And
now,
that's going to have people pissed off. That at the end of the day, that was it for Bill Cowher.
Yes. Well, when I saw him sign the extension, I went on the show yesterday and I was like, why would he sign an extension? Dude, start shopping your wares. Get out. Or make sure that Colbert, the GM, maybe they have a plan.
Well, they did just change GMs, right?
I thought Kevin Colbert was still the guy. They changed GMs?
Yeah, I was thinking I'm going on what a listener shot me today.
So I'll look it up. He's got a 1-year extension. He's 64 years old. He goes through.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. He got a 1-year extension. Tomlin is signed through 24.
Yeah.
So who's got the power? Mike Tomlin.
Well, I mean he does, but I could also see him 3 years in. Say he makes the playoffs this year. He doesn't make the playoffs this year. He loses 2 more years. I think he gets fired. Which to me, Mike Tomlin at 49 years old.
Well, that would put him with just 1 year left on his deal. He's only signed through 24, right?
Right. I think he gets signed I think he gets fired before the end of the deal. If he misses the playoffs 3 years in a row, I think he gets fired. So all that goodwill, all those years of never going below 500, 14 years, at least 8-8 or better, they go away that quickly in the NFL. I think he should have shopped around. Look at all the openings. Find an opening with a young quarterback, or go to Colbert and go to the Rooneys and go, I don't want this guy back. Why is he back? If I were Tomlin, I would have taken this year is my bridge year. I will take it in the balls. Kick me in the teeth with some bridge quarterback, whoever it is. I'll take Tyrod Taylor for a year, Jacoby Brissett. How about maybe roll the dice, actually pay Jameis Winston for a couple of years? Let's see if there's something there. Instead, they go through like weeks of negotiations with Big Ben. He sucked last year. The unbeaten record didn't cover anything. He wasn't good. He was a bottom half of the league quarterback. The transition should be happening this year. If I'm Tomlin, unless I've heard from ownership and Colbert that there's a good plan in place, we're trading up, or I don't know what the plan is. But, man, I ain't rolling the dice with a year of Big Ben and then what? 2 more years of freaking playing the quarterback game? Like, I want to know who the quarterback is next year.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
I think he made a mistake.
And that's the thing. Listen, Andy Reid, Brett Veach has been given the bulk of the credit for being on Patrick Mahomes for 2 years. But Andy Reid had to sign off on it, and Andy Reid knows quarterbacks. And your coach has to have some say, at least in that position. And so I agree. And if he's signing off on not having somebody else, because I'm with you. I don't understand why more people aren't on Jameis Winston. Like, I understand he threw a ton of picks, and I'm not telling you that he's going to suddenly become a Hall of Famer. But there's a pedigree there, 5,000 yards. Yes, 31 interceptions, but what did he throw? 35 touchdowns? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's all there. Like, that's a lot to work with. Pull in the reins a little bit, turn the corner with the guy.
Or how are they not in the market for Darnold? Like, give me something. Give me 2022, 2023 hope. Not, we're going to make a run at Fitzpatrick next year.
Well, let's see what they do in the draft. A lot of people think they're going to end up with what's the guy's name? Is it Sills? Darvin Sills? David Sills? What the hell's the Stanford quarterback?
Davis Mills.
Davis Mills. I'm in the ballpark.
Yeah. Who, by the way, the guys at Circa, this is great.
I think he might make it into the first round.
Well, the Bears are rumored to be sneaking around him. His over-under, I think if I have this right, by the way, Circa in town is doing individual player props over-under position in the draft. Like we're used to being able to bet recently, Mac Jones over-under the 3.5 pick, Jalen Waddle over-under the 11.5 pick. Circa is doing 100 individual player over-unders, which is very risky, very risky. And Jeffrey Benson was on with us today from Circa, and he said today that Mills has gone from an over-under of 150.5 to 60.5 in like a couple of days.
Well, there's so much talk around him. Either somebody's like selling something. I mean, there's been so much that I don't think it's I don't think it's either a great smokescreen or no. There are teams that are hot on this guy and it's starting to leak out.
Right.
But I mean, I know why they would be. I mean, he looks the part.
Well, Kellen Mond is also, supposedly a candidate to go, maybe miracle late first, second, third. His over under was 170 and it's down to 80.
So third round.
About late second.
I don't think he's making his way into the.
I don't think so. I actually once guys like that get to 60 and 80, then I'm comfortable betting them over that they're going to go later than the hype is suggesting. But anyway, so the Steelers better have their eye on someone because Darnold was available forever, and I think that was a pretty affordable price with a second round pick. I don't know. Would you be? I mean, they have Big Ben, so it's not even like the Niners take a quarterback and the Niners are like, all right, Garoppolo's available. What are the Steelers going to do? Like I might roll the dice on Garoppolo, but you ain't doing it with Big Ben there.
So let me ask you a question. What do you think Darnold is? Like,
I don't love his chances to turn into a good quarterback, but at least there's some upside.
There's people in San Francisco say this isn't true, but there were reports that they were talking about number 12 for Darnold. He ended up getting traded for a second, fourth, and sixth.
Yep.
I'm not topping that price for Darnold. Like Darnold, like I always said, look, Alex Smith. Alex Smith was the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs. I did not like when they paid him $17 million when the top paid quarterback in the NFL was $21 million. Like I'm fine with getting Darnold, but I'm not giving up multiple draft picks to get him.
Yeah. Well,
Jet fans think the guy's like really good. I
don't think he's really good. I said today on the air, and I've said it a couple times, I would have loved to have seen him have a real O coordinator and some more weapons around him and see what he would do. Not a horse's ass as the coach, a weirdo like Adam Gase. And like I would have been fine this year if they had kept Arnold, if they could move back from 2, get some value, and take either Penei Sewell will be my first choice. I would have bookend tackles for the next 10 years, or I get Jamar Chase and give him a shot. Give Darnold a shot. But it is risky. That said, though, if they suck, then they're going to be in the same position and they can be in the running for next year's guy, and whoever that is, Sam Howell or whoever else.
Yeah, but next year's that's the thing is like the job was to tank down to number 1 and get Trevor Lawrence.
Well, they failed. So actually, the way I look at it, that's the only guy. That's the guy. They failed. So get out of 2 and go back to 5 or 6.
Listen, I will tell you that, somebody can tell me undeniably who's the quarterback after Trevor Lawrence that is absolutely going to be a perennial Pro Bowler and be taking his team to the playoffs every year. Who's the guy who would you put your name on?
Probably Trey Lance.
Would you put your name on it, or would you be like, I will take none of the above?
Oh, I'll take none of the above. If I have to take someone, I'm most intrigued by Trey Lance.
A lot of upside. Right? Wilson has upside, but I get all the knocks. What defense did he really play against?
Mm-hmm.
So I like what he did, but I'm higher on Mac Jones than most people. Like I was like, hey, you're going to go up there to take Mac Jones. Why? Because you didn't have Mac Jones on your preseason list, so therefore he can't be any good. Why is Kyle Trask light years behind all these other guys?
Well, I think we talked about it last week that the determination has been made that it was the weapons, not the quarterback. And in Alabama, it's the quarterback and the weapons. They were all good.
Yeah. I like, I think Mac Jones is getting slighted. I don't know. I don't think he's going to go 3 though.
No, I don't. I think I don't know if I told you last week after we did the show that next day, because I had told you. Well, one, Eric Eager drove. Your guy Eric Eager comes on with us from Pro Football Focus. Eric Eager lives in Ohio. He drove to Indiana. He drove to Pennsylvania to get down some bets on Justin Fields as the number 3 pick. I think he got him at plus 225, plus 250. I got him at plus 225. I think on Monday. On Thursday, it switched up. He became the favorite as the 3 pick at minus 130.
Yeah.
So but who knows what's happening there? There could be some hedge action. People could have got Jones at a good number. There's a bunch of stuff going on to move numbers, but now it came out today that Justin Fields has epilepsy, so he might have seizure issues, and he's supposed to grow out of it. But the way NFL people are, they might freak out, and I could see the guy slipping into the 20s or out of the first round.
Yeah, I will say in your 20s is a little later than you should be. That just having had some experience with the juvenile epilepsy, but I don't know what the average time is, but I think we're getting to the point where that should have happened. But listen, if it's being treated with medication,
right,
then
he didn't have issues supposedly at Ohio State. And then Brady, I don't think it was an issue of who leaked the news. I think he told teams he wanted to be upfront about it. So I'm guessing that teams told the NFL insider type guys, and I think Rappaport was the one who reported it. So I don't think he announced it.
NFL teams love to talk to the national guys.
We've talked about this before. It is the belief that especially the guys with the NFL Network actually have first dibs on a lot of stories. So who knows?
Which, by the way, did you see that they're going to the NFL Network and ESPN have agreed not to leak out who the picks are in advance?
Yeah, that ain't going to work.
No, because like all the guys that aren't on those 2 things will be leaking it out.
Why wouldn't the Athletic do it just to improve their brand?
100%,
right?
And they will. It will happen. Which
NFL Network, does Glazer do anything with NFL Network? I can't keep track of what he does. His main gig is Fox. He's going to leak the picks.
He's the Athletic now, isn't he?
I have no idea. Is that right?
I don't know. I don't really follow him.
I feel like I haven't seen him as much lately, but I don't know. Maybe I muted him for some reason. You never know when I'm going to mute someone because they're annoying me.
Because you have that kind of juice. Nobody wants to be muted by Cofield. It's a career killer.
Yeah. There's some people out there like, respond to my message. You don't retweet my stuff anymore. Oh, I'm sorry. I muted you one day.
I've only been, I don't know. I might have been blocked by many people, but only one guy in the media, and I can't remember his name. I called him out on something he said that was like ridiculous, and he immediately, blocked me.
I'm blocked by other sports talk hosts and then columnists. So it's usually the tough guys who talk the most trash. You go back at them and they wilt and then they block you. So Darren Ravel has me blocked. Ben Maller from Fox Sports National has me blocked. Has me blocked, and I think it's because I've talked about it so many times. Remember the story I told you at the Super Bowl about 18 years ago? We used to like to have the guys on from RotoWire, and maybe it wasn't 18 years ago, whatever, 15. Like Jeff Erickson was on, right? They're cool. And out of nowhere, what's his name? I was blanking on his name. Matthew Berry walks up to our set. This is at Radio Row at the Super Bowl. He walks up to the set and he's like, listen, we really don't like for our affiliates to have guys on who are not ESPN. And I just looked up and I was like, get out of here. Leave. And then I blasted him about 5 times on the air what a fucking horse's ass he is, so he blocked me. Like I don't even engage. I've never engaged with the guy on Twitter. And
you got blocked?
One day I was looking, I'm like, oh, I'm blocked by that guy. I guess my story actually reached wherever he is.
Well, then I guess they would never, put any of their people on with a non-ESPN affiliate radio station, right?
Yeah.
Because that's I told the story today on the air about how, like, play-by-play guys cannot fill 7 seconds of a rain delay.
Right.
And how when I used to do pre and post for the Royals that, like, I was like, the cloud would be in the sky. They'd be like, where are they? Get them in the booth. Get them ready. They got to be ready to take it. It's about ready to rain. Jesus, get in here. Christ, what are we going to do?
Oh, come on.
But
little Pete blocks people too.
Yeah.
It's the guys who talk them. Like, we love your bits. You just shit on people, but you can't get mad when some of us come back at you. That's the game. It's all a bit, unless it's not, and now we know it's not.
Yeah, but the whole, I don't know. It's just some of the behind the scenes, like ESPN is supposed to just put people on ESPN stations.
No, they don't.
Yes.
We know that whatever they're called now, Entercom, CBS, they're pulling that crap. So we're told that all the time. I think it's a tool of convenience where they're like, sorry, Entercom, we got a deal. We can't do anything. Okay.
You know what? I would have given a shit 10 years ago if there weren't 10,000 outlets and really good writers everywhere.
Exactly.
Right. I like the guys on CBS Sports. I like a lot of them.
And listen, I like people everywhere. So to me, we're all going to be working somewhere at some point. Like, you know what? I say that a lot of people had their jobs on the line. So if your bosses tell you not to do something,
you can't do it. I mean, I respect if they tell me they can't do it, they can't do it. But I know just from different dealings, I'm like, come on,
seriously,
give me a break. Let me tell you what your guy over here is doing.
Right. I love this one. It would be awesome next Thursday if Shams and Woj just battle on the NFL draft, just leaking picks left and right. Did Shams break a NFL story a couple weeks ago? And everyone's like, "What the hell's going on?" Like he got something early and he broke it before the NFL guys could.
Oh, I can believe it.
So awesome. And then some of the NFL guys joked about it, but deep down they were like, "God damn it, Shams, that's my beat."
They're not going to do it. Like it's impossible, right? That's fine if NFL Network and HBO, NFL Network and ESPN don't put the stuff out there. But like the team makes the pick, and then it goes to the production guys at ESPN, and there are 500 people, and at the NFL Network that are then building the graphics and putting the things up there, and tweeting their buddy, and then boom, it's out there.
Wait, did Shams break DJT having COVID? Is that right?
Is that right?
That's pretty good. That's a good scoop.
He's everywhere.
He is, man. Some guys are disconnected. People want to tell him stuff. So Woj and Shams showdown. It's the best part of the NBA draft. Generally, after like the 8th pick, most of us are like, "What? Who?" I'm not, but most people are disinterested. So.
Well, you're spectacular, Steve.
I'm spectacular at almost nothing anymore.
Not only are you a powerful man and incredibly domineering, but you are unbelievable at the NBA draft.
And a value player.
Mm-hmm.
And a peanut butter whiskey drinker tonight. So let's do it.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Which one? Screwball?
I don't know, some blind squirrel or something. It was cheaper.
Yeah, that's from the Jim Beam Company. I've got a bottle of it sitting on the bar right now. It's good. They did a really good job.
I'm enjoying it. All right, NFL rules changes. Did you see these?
I did. On the instant replay rule, whatever.
What are they doing? Why aren't they just going to the eye? Why not test the eye in the sky in the preseason and implement it next year? Instead, they've tabled it, and they're kind of going like they're doing it half-assed.
They're half-assing like, oh, the guy can buzz down even if there's not a challenge or a play under review. Like the guy can buzz and say, hey, you need to take a look at this. Oh, great. So now we're going to take a look at every other freaking play. Well, but it's only on these things. It's not on spotting the ball.
Can I just break in for a second? Our guy, our favorite guy, he taught us how to do sports radio back at Sports Fan Radio Network. He works in my group. JT the Brick just tweeted something out. I don't know what he's talking about. I would talk about it, but I don't know what he's talking about. He said anyone in Sports Talk Radio not talking about LeBron James taking down his controversial tweet is gutless and afraid to cover the biggest story in all of sports. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. What tweet? What did I miss tonight? Did he tweet something about George Floyd and Chauvin? Did he go after
I'm sure that's part of it.
Just look at a sports website or national news. Pathetic. Defend him or not, but cover this breaking news. All right, well, I guess we got to cover it. Otherwise we're gutless and afraid. What did he do? Did anyone see this? What did he do?
Yeah, here it is. So
China? Oh, it was about the girl in Ohio.
Yeah, anger. It says Lakers star LeBron James posted and later deleted a tweet on Wednesday about the fatal police shooting of Ma'Khia Bryant, a 16-year-old black girl in Columbus, Ohio. In a series of tweets, James explained why he deleted the post. Anger does any of us any good. I think maybe none of us. Anger does any of us any good, and that includes myself. Gathering all the facts and educating does, though. My anger still is here for what happened, that little girl. My sympathy for her family, and may justice prevail. I'm so damn tired of seeing black people killed by police. I took the tweet down because it's being used to create more hate. This isn't about one officer. It's about the entire system, and they always use our words to create more racism. I'm so desperate for more accountability. I'm trying to see what the original tweet was. Since deleted tweet by James showed a photo of Officer Nicholas Reardon, who is white, with an accompanying caption, quote, "You're next, hashtag accountability," along with an hourglass emoji on Wednesday.
Right. Well, lesson learned, man. Don't overreact without having all the facts. So, but I mean,
and he seems to have a thoughtful.
He has tweeted.
You don't have to agree with it, but
right. He has tweeted a reply and said he suggested there that he judged too quickly. So,
listen, a lot of people in the media, LeBron James is one of the most iconic figures, and so, hating or saying all these people that say this and defending LeBron James is big business and gets you noticed with clicks. Skip Bayless's go-to.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes is next. Ripping Patrick Mahomes is what he's gotten to. That's the next one, because Patrick Mahomes is becoming an iconic figure like LeBron James. And so you will see people either shit on or defend those individuals in an attempt to get their name into trending.
All right. Well, I will cover it tomorrow. I will wait because I'm going to collect the facts. How about that? So but yeah, in these situations, everyone needs to be a little more thorough. Make sure you collect the facts. It's an emotional time. African Americans certainly, and people of color in general. Absolutely. I can see why you get worked up, because it just seems to be an avalanche, and especially now that we have video stuff. So I understand why people get fucking pissed off, but you do have to be accountable for what you're putting up there.
Put up TiVo backs.
Yeah, I saw it. Yep. Yeah. We did a lot of this today in Vegas, but I'm open to hearing your take on the I Can Breathe for 2021.
I think it's, a guy who's, I used to say in a different way that Carl Peterson was his own PR nightmare.
Yeah.
And, he was an incredibly accomplished general manager, president, and CEO for the Chiefs for many years, but he would say things and he had good intentions, but didn't realize how they could be taken the wrong way. And so look, I'm not the guy who needs, I don't mind talking about real sports. I don't need somebody to step in shit on accident and then bury them and act holier than thou and talk about what an embarrassment it is to get through 4 hours. So I'm not sitting around waiting and just giddy when somebody makes a mistake. I think Mark Davis has got, from that standpoint, he's sometimes his own worst PR nightmare. He doesn't think through how it's going to play.
Right.
My assumption is he meant well. I know, being the son of Mark Davis, Al Davis was one of the great champions for African-American players. Mm-hmm. And I find it hard to believe that he grew up in that home and came away, being someone that's not sensitive to issues that his players have. Al Davis is one of the great champions for players, period. Even though we got loopy at the end, in his prime, he's one of the most iconic figures in the history of the NFL, and he cared about players. There's no doubt about it. Despite what Marcus Allen will tell you, other people will tell you, Al Davis was the greatest guy I ever played for. He'd ask about my family. He always knew what was going on. He wanted to make sure that everything was good. I remember I was going through this or that, and Al Davis was always there. I find it hard to believe that Mark Davis grew up in that household and that mindset around that kind of culture, and he's trying to do anything negative. I think he just didn't think all the way through what it was.
Well, he was unaware that around the time of the Eric Garner case that there were police reporters who mocked on Eric Garner and wore T-shirts that said "I can breathe." So,
yeah,
he's not up on the news. I mean, it happens. I mean, honestly, I don't want to be too harsh on Mark Davis, but I don't think he's like a super brilliant dude. We're talking about the titans of industry, many of them brilliant people who own football teams. And then, there's Mark Davis's, there's Cal McNair's, the guy who, got his team from Bob. There are people who have had their fortune, mostly handed down to them. And Mark Davis is making money off his money now. And in defense of Mark Davis, because I'm not going to sit here and say he's stupid. He did pull off one of the great deals. I'm not going to say heist, but he certainly beat out the Chargers for a prime market. Spanos was so stuck on getting to LA, and his team value has gone up, probably double. But it's going to be a flop there. They're not going to draw, and the Raiders are going to be a success. We're sold out here in the stadium to the tune of 58,000 PSLs plus the suites. He actually beat. I mean, he actually did beat Sheldon Adelson. He got Sheldon Adelson, the casino mogul who's now dead. He got Sheldon Adelson to pull all the strings that Sheldon Adelson needed to with the politicians here to get the $750 million. And then Adelson got pissed off at the end. He's like, I'm out. And I'm sure he was like, this is not going to work without me. And then Mark Davis is like, hey, Jerry Jones, can you get me the money? Yep. Okay, it worked. So he outsmarted the league, he outsmarted the state of Nevada, and he outsmarted Sheldon Adelson. So while he has his moments of kind of, not being aware and a little bit dopey, and when I say there's something charming about Mark Davis because he is unpolished, because he will speak on stuff. He's the only goddamn guy who went back on the Kaepernick stuff and said, you know what? I blew it. We should have considered him. I made a mistake there. I misjudged that. Did any other owners come out and say, no, I fucked up? He actually said it 4 years later. So I like Mark Davis. He made a mistake here, but I don't think he's a dickhead. I don't think he's a racist.
There's some childlike honesty that makes him appealing. And he's going to make some mistakes. Although I will say that had he engineered the LA move, the Raiders had a brand in LA. They're still popular in LA. So I'm with you. Like for the Chargers would have been better in Vegas. I agree. But I won't say that the Raiders wouldn't have been better in LA. Now, I don't think anybody should have been second to the Rams.
No.
But their own stadium in LA, the Raiders, I think, would have been bigger than the Rams.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind. I will not argue with that. Raiders would have been bigger in L.A., and it's also part of why Stan Kroenke pulled the strings to kind of behind the scenes when they came out and announced who was getting L.A. I remember I was on the air that day, and I didn't know the Raiders were coming here, and I wasn't like some big Raiders fan. I got so pissed off because I kind of like Mark Davis. I was like, this is unbelievable. They shut the team out from the market where they really belong, where there's tons of fans. But he made out. So
no, listen, I will tell you, there's all kinds of dynamics. I've talked about a lot about what the NFL was actually trying to do, and how Kroenke just said, all right, I'm done waiting on your shit. I'm going to do it myself, because the league wanted to own a 2-team stadium with a 2-team facility. They have bigger plans with European markets and all that, and he finally went, all right, I'm done with your shit. Like, here I go. I'm in. Try and stop me. But anyway.
Yeah, the Chargers aren't going. Chargers aren't going anywhere. They're going to be in LA for the long term. And I mean, if they did move, if they wanted to go back to San Diego, the Spanos family would have to sell the team. And I think San Diego, they're building a 35,000 seat stadium for the college football team there. That's expandable, probably to the high 50s. I think San Diego would take them back, but it can never be with the Spanos family.
I think, to me, listen, I don't know if I talked about it on this, but I think, first of all leagues in the United States should be expanding. I think there's a thirst for it. I think every league, every professional league should be at 40 in North America, right? Should be at 40 teams. And I'm not saying go to 40 overnight, but there's an appetite for it. There's plenty of places for it. And I'm not going to waste. Have we talked about it on this?
Yeah.
So I don't want to bore everybody.
We've talked about it on and off the air. I love the concept that baseball should have, a ton of teams. Football should go to 40. There is no such thing as saturating.
No, you can't. Like, you're not even close to oversaturating the market. Not even close. And I don't know why. And it shows, to your point about like owners, like Clark Hunt is, his fortune was given to him. Now, has he expanded it and grown it? I don't know. I don't check his worth. Maybe yes. I believe so. People in the Chiefs organization tell me yes. But I know what he does get is he doesn't have to be an egomaniac and be out front. He stays behind the scenes and hires good people and lets them do their job. Like, he is not a dynamic speaker, so he's not somebody you're like, yeah, let's follow him into battle. Come on, Clark, here we go. Yeah, we're going streaking in the quad. Like, no, not the guy, right? But what he is a guy who he hired the 5-time executive of the year in Scott Pioli for top dollar, and it didn't work. And then he said, okay, then I'm going to hire the best coach available. And he hired Andy Reid. And Andy Reid runs the show. And he's okay with Andy Reid running the show because it makes him a ton of money and he wins games. And that's what owners should be.
I cut you off in the middle of the you know what? Let's go down this path. I forgot. We wanted to go here too. Truth from Duluth. I want an NFL Super League, Cowboys, Packers, Steelers, Giants, automatic playoff berths. I didn't talk about the Super League Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Now,
I'm never going to talk about it Friday because Danny Klingscale comes on with me on Fridays. A big soccer guy. I'm becoming a big soccer guy. Chelsea is the team I've adopted and been rooting for a couple of years. And so I'm getting more and more into the EPL, but I'm going to do it. I have some thoughts on it.
I wasn't on Monday. I was out of town. Since I've come back, we've had other stuff to talk about. It looked like a stupid story to me, but you want to explain it to me, like why this is relatable?
I don't even have 100% grasp of exactly how all – like they play the Champions League right now. And so basically what you have is consider if the NFL, if everybody played professional football, during the NFL season, there was also this tournament going on where you played other club or other professional NFL teams from other leagues, right? That's what goes on in soccer. There's all these other cups outside of your league, right? In the MLS, it's the CONCACAF. There's you know, or the not the CONCACAF, the what the hell is it? There's the Gold Cup or the whatever it is. Anyway, there's one of these for Gold Cup. Thank you, Brady. The Gold Cup, and those are going on. There's all so there's a U.S. Open Cup. There's all these other tournaments that these what they call club teams or what we call professional teams are in, and so this Champions League is huge, and there's huge money. Give you an idea, like Peacock has the right to stream all the EPL, the English Premier League games, but CBS's Paramount has the rights to Champions League. So, like, it's a big entity. And so this was going to replace Champions League, and it was going to guarantee the biggest teams be in the tournament every year. As it is now, you have to qualify, and the biggest teams are usually in there. Not all of them, because only like 4 from the EPL are in, and there's probably 6 or 7 iconic brands in the EPL, and they wanted to get all of them guaranteed in. And then that was going to, because of the fan bases globally, worldwide. Like, I watch Chelsea, guys at work, they're Man U guys. You know, there's another guy's a Liverpool guy. You get there, it gets global ratings. It's the most expensive sports league around there. But it was not going to be the wide open cup. And the beauty of this thing is, literally, think about if your town, right, if Green Valley had a soccer team, it could qualify for this cup, right, if you were in Europe. So, like, every professional club going down like 10 levels has a chance to qualify and be in it. And so you get some of these like fluky little upsets of these like semi-pro teams upsetting some of the big clubs. But it's also like a talent thing and how talent migrates through, and it's their tradition and history. And so they did this, and basically a bunch of American owners. In fact, Curtis broke down the owners from it. Let me I'll bring it up here. Where they're from. Basically, they tried to Americanize European football, and they shit their pants. The owners, Arsenal's owner, Stan Kroenke, right? Chelsea's owner is from Russia. Liverpool's owner, John Henry, the Red Sox. Man City's a group of guys from United Arab Emirates, China, England, and Spain. Man U, Joel Glazer, the Bucks owner. Tottenham is a guy from Great Britain. Atletico Madrid's a Spanish guy. Spain, Italy, China, Italy. But I have no doubt that what you had was the American influence, which, by the way, they're pissed that you've got Kroenke, Henry, and Glazer owning iconic brands. And Arsenal's another big iconic brand that Kroenke owns. Liverpool, John Henry. And then this Russian guy, it's like he's like a Putin, henchman who owns Chelsea. And, they're big-time capitalists, but capitalists with government behind them. So they basically tried to strong-arm European football for this tournament. And I think it's amazing because it showed the world if fans and players are on the same page, owners are castrated. Like they basically castrated these guys, billionaires that have never been told no in their life. The fans, the players said, fuck it, we ain't playing. And the fans said, we ain't watching. And they went, oh shit, bad idea. Okay, return to your normal programming. And I think it's like here it's not, it's getting coverage because European soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, has legs here. But in Europe, this is the biggest sports story maybe in the history of sports. It's that big. And I think it should not be trivialized what happened, because I think one of the big fears that all owners should have is if players and fans unite, because what happens when there's a strike here? Everybody hates the players. You greedy pricks, I played that game for nothing. Yeah, but you can't play, so it doesn't matter what you play for, jackass. And here you have guys that are paid even more than whoever the most expensive guys are here. You know, what is it, 70-some-odd million a year for Lionel Messi? You know, now I don't know that Messi was one of the front runners, but the EPL guys are like, you know, the Liverpool players are tweeting out, we stand with our fans. You know, we stand united. I can't remember what their little shirt was. They all came out. I mean, I think it's one of the most amazing things that's ever happened. And it shows the power of, one, fans and players coming together. But it also, to me, shows the difference in a European mindset. Like, they're not going to have it just be about the biggest dollars. And they also, all those fans, that was an American mindset that if you said, like the tweet, put that tweet back up there, the Packers, the Giants, the Cowboys, you know, whatever iconic brand, Steelers, all get automatic bids into the playoffs every year. Yeah, right? Like, what they felt was we have the most fans globally, and it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. All of our fans will love it because we're going to be in the finals right away. We're going to be in this tournament automatically every year. And all those fans said, bullshit, that's not how it works, and we want to earn our way in the way we've always done it. They're in most years. That was good enough for them. And how different is it? Because if you put that out there, that those teams would be in there, wouldn't every Cowboy, Packer, Steeler, and Giant fan say, yeah, we should. We make all the money for the league. So that's absolutely right. We should absolutely be there. Their fans would support it.
Yeah. Oh, not view the integrity of the sport overall, the integrity of the competition.
Maybe Packer fans wouldn't, but just because I think they're Midwestern. But Cowboys fans, Giants fans, they'd be like, yeah, we should be in. We're why everybody watches. And that's not the reaction you got in Europe.
I don't mean this in a bad way, and I don't mean to insult. Why are so many American sports fans stupid?
Because
why are our fans, and maybe this is just like a one-off and European fans really came through because they're obviously they have a big problem with racism. So that's a negative on some European fans. But why? I mean, you started this whole conversation with how American fans react to the players getting anything, and we're talking about professional or the amateurs. Why are we anti-athlete? So many of us.
Because I think we're insecure and jealous, and we're never satisfied with what we have. And in some ways that drives us to be better, right? It drives us. But it's also the bullshit false narrative that so many people gobble up that like, oh, you know what? Like I could be a millionaire. I could be a billionaire. Like, no, you can't. You will never fucking do it. You do not have the resources and ability to do it. You have no idea how walled out you are, but this fanciful dream that you actually have a shot, anybody in America can do it. And they cite the one guy out of 350 million that does it every 50 years. And they say, yeah, see, that's the dream. Bullshit. Marketing. You're a dumbass. I mean, it's ignorance. It's reinforced ignorance.
I almost think with the athletes, it goes back to a jealousy of when you were kind of I'm not saying you personally, but well, I'll just say it. You know, almost everyone in here, like we were just kind of middling or poor athletes, and we saw the really good athletes get everything, and we still harbor resentment from it. Like fuckers. Look, if I just got a break here or there, they're just lucky. They're just lucky to have good genetics. I'm gonna hate them forever. Like, why? Like it's like Petro says. Why? Like, just come to grips, man. Like, I would do it for free. Yeah, they don't want you for free.
Yeah.
There are, you know, in any sport, there, you know, around the world, there are hundreds or maybe low thousands of numbers that can play at that level. You aren't lucky or talented enough, or even worse, driven enough to get there.
Exactly. And we dream that kind of adulation. We dream of and we fancy it. We want it, I think, as a country. And we cannot find a satisfactory result. We cannot come to grips with our own limitations and find, success elsewhere.
We come full circle. It's my failure to embrace rock, paper, scissors and my lack of competitiveness. Yeah, it was interesting. I saw ESPN LA trying to do a play on this whole rock, paper, scissors thing. And they're like, all the tease, I wasn't listening to the show. All the tease was on Twitter was, how competitive are you? Call in. Like, I don't even know where did people just tell stories about being lunatics in terms of being competitive?
Or like their, fist fights they got in over rock, paper, scissors.
Right.
I have no idea, but I mean, it's an inability to be satisfied.
Yep.
Right. I mean, that's what it is. It's an inability to find success or find, contentment in what you can and can't do, and go find joy in what you do well, whatever it is. Because our society has decided that only these people are successes. You can't be a success without a house that's big enough or whatever.
God, there's too much to get to tonight. Too much to get to. I think in the NFL, the dumbest thing they did today, and I don't explain to me why they can't do this. The NFL has an issue with diversity hiring.
You think?
It just does.
You think?
So if
Mike Tomlin got an extension, Steve.
Yeah.
And I'd coach the Steelers for free.
Yeah, I would too.
So don't tell me.
Why don't they just push back the hiring process till after the Super Bowl? They turned it down today. The Bills made the suggestion. I'm not saying it would fix all, but at least, again, I don't want to go back to the spilled milk here, but Eric Bieniemy, Byron Leftwich, Raheem Morris, just in terms of getting a chance. I mean, none of them are really in the mix for jobs because it's just teams are just like, we're not waiting that long. You can't fix that with an easy date. Like, hey, this is when you can begin the process.
Or at least it's a convenient, if it is racism, there's a convenient excuse that's plausible and understandable. And it's always going to be a problem, at least for the next few years, because the Bucs and Chiefs both figure to be good.
So we talked about the options. So basically, the only option for Eric Bieniemy to get a better look and really be involved in the hiring process
is to suck.
He has to quit the Chiefs. I have a good job because you made the suggestion. You're like, maybe it's time to go to Minnesota and be because we talked about the lack of experience with whoever's kid it is. What nepotism case was it? Who got was it Kubiak? Was it whatever? Kubiak who got it? I mean, you actually talked about it. You're like, maybe he just has to quit. So you're an immensely successful guy, and you're like, well, you got to go on your own because you haven't proved it here. So you got to roll the dice, quit.
Yep.
I don't want to quit. I'm ready. I don't know, man. It's weird. I don't even know what my groundbreaking analysis was. There's been so many points this show.
Strong all around, Steve.
It's been a good one.
Strong all around.
Did you see the tweet yesterday from one Dickie V? I really think there's a lot of angles on this one.
I didn't see it, but I've heard about it. Yeah.
Let me punch this up here.
I've got it here. Do you want me to play it or say it?
It'll be up on the screen here in a second.
Okay.
In two parts. Dickie V spoke with several coaches that are saying that widespread tampering is going on recruiting players in the transfer portal. They claim players are informed that School X will offer you if you get in the portal. That is pathetic and violates why the rule was put into play. So I've seen a lot of people who are like, Dick, you didn't know this?
He is, listen, I don't have a problem with him. I do have a problem with the fact that he never talks about the game that's actually being played. And what was it? He pissed me off this year, though, where I was like, okay, he's got to go. He talked some shit on something where he was just a complete shill. I don't even remember what the hell it was.
Right.
And I was like, all right, that's it. I'm done. I watched the game, and he was chastising somebody. I'm like, listen, you can bury your head in the sand and be this apologist for college guys over going pro and all that. But like, he did something that pissed me off. I wish I could remember what it was. And I was like, all right, that's it. He's got to go. I really don't have any ill will towards Dick Vitale. He's been a great ambassador for college basketball, but he truly has no idea what's going on anymore.
Okay, so I thought about this more and more because I like Dickie V, and I don't want to rip him, and he is like 80-something years old.
I agree.
I will say, us all sitting here going, hey, no shit. Like, you and I have talked about it, right? We've been talking about it all year, so I talk about it all the time, that this stuff is going on, and that's why the transfer portal has become as important as the grabbing the freshmen. And if you think they're going out,
maybe more because you know what they are.
It probably is, yeah. And if they're doing that to get freshmen, they're doing the same thing to get guys out of the transfer portal. Now, if Dickie V's a little bit shocked here, I like his honesty that he's at least putting it out. What other college basketball insider on a national level has talked about this?
Well, Gary Parrish, when he was on with us, said, listen, this is where this is going to go. It's going to be Kentucky is going to go say, look, he said, like Tyrese Halliburton, for example. Tyrese Halliburton wasn't a highly recruited guy at Iowa State. He comes in, he has a good freshman year. He's on the radar screen for the NBA, doesn't go, and Kentucky's like, we need a point guard. Tyrese, come on over. Let's go get you. He said, now, he goes, does John Calipari call him? He said, no, but people within Kentucky, boosters, whoever, can get to people around him and let it be known that if you're available, you can come. And let me ask you a question. Who gives a shit?
About what?
If that happens. Like, this is like the whole FBI investigation.
Right.
Like, who gives a shit if a kid got $100,000 to play college basketball? In the grand scheme of things,
well, there's a bigger picture.
What is it?
Many of them are state-funded schools. If your budget allows you to go out and spend money on players, my state is losing potential revenue because my schools aren't getting into the NCAA tournament. So that this is a fraud deal where you're gaining an advantage to get money from the NCAA tournament.
And they claim to be victims because they lose out on their scholarships, which they're defrauded of money because the scholarship then went and was for naught. And therefore, that's why Kansas was a victim, right? The improprieties that went on that they didn't do in the FBI case. Now, they're alleged of having their own things, but that was not what the point of the FBI's. The point is, that like, okay, this is defrauding these state universities, these universities of the money they've invested in the scholarships because now but at the end of the day, kids are making billions of dollars for these schools and getting thousands of dollars.
I'm not mad at the kids.
Right. But that's my point. The big picture, forget about the laws and all that shit.
Right.
Who gives a shit if a kid gets $100,000 to play basketball at this school?
I don't care.
The guy who roots for the school that competes with that one. That's who gives a shit. They only give a shit because it serves their own it does not serve their own self-interest.
Hmm?
Right? That's the reality of it. Otherwise nobody cares. Right? Nobody's about the sanctity of education. Nobody's about the sanctity of anything in this country. They're about what works for me. Right? And if it screws me, then I'm against it. So, from that standpoint, the portal, like guys going around, here's the deal. If it's like, why do we get rid of prohibition in this country? Like, are there problems with alcohol in this country? Yes. Is there more domestic abuse because of it? And by the way, yes. Is there more domestic abuse because of it? Yes. Is there drunk driving problems? Yes. See Britt Reed, right? But why did we get rid of prohibition? Because they couldn't police it. Right. Nobody gave a shit. They're like, this law is bullshit. And there was a secondary market that was making millions, maybe billions of dollars back then. The government was getting none of it. And everybody looked around and went, everyone's drinking anyway. Nobody's really for this law, and we're not making any money. Why is weed being legalized? Same kind of thing. So if you have a transfer portal and your problem is that everybody's reaching out in advance, you can't fucking police the entire college basketball world. So stop trying and just allow anyone to call anyone at any time. The whole recruiting thing. Well, they can only call during these times. Why? You can block a phone number right now. If the coach at Delaware State is annoying the shit out of your son, block him. We won't even block this. I get a call 4 times a day about some car warranty that's supposedly up from some robocall. If you're not going to block that shit, make that shit illegal in this country, why are we worried if a college basketball coach wants to call a high school recruit or a guy who plays for another team 500 times? Who's the victim? Block him. Don't answer it. That's it. You're done. Who gives a shit? You can't police it. Who cares if they're making phone calls? I'll tell you who cares. The other coaches and the fans in the other school who might lose them. The Greg Marshalls of the world care. Who get a kid in on the promise of being able to get him to the next level, then treats them like shit when they're there, but it's hard to leave, right? And if you leave, there's a penalty of sitting out for a year. Do you really want to go through that, or do you just tough it out and keep playing for an asshole?
Right.
Now you can't be an asshole coach anymore. So all asshole coaches lose out.
Yep. I also wonder, like, in Greg Marshall's position, what is it like when you're leaning on your program supporters to get players and you dole out money, then you fuck it up and you lose the guy after putting, I'm not saying Marshall did this, allegedly, maybe he did it. I wonder what that conversation's like when your money backer's like, wait, you needed $100,000 for the guy. Now I'm hearing you were a dickhead to him and you lost him. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like that's an interesting position. Like I wonder where the coaches are now. I mean, my only concern is this is going to sound stupid, but I like honesty and storytelling. And I don't, what drives me nuts in college basketball is that some are labeled cheaters, others are not labeled cheaters. Let's tell the real story. And that's why when I saw Dickie V at first, that tweet, I was like, come on, dude, you don't know that? But I think he knows it. Now, Dickie V is very careful. He does have his allies, and then there are other people he's going to go after. You know what? I'll give him credit. Now, I wish he would do it with Rick Pitino and all the cheating he did, but he fucking dragged Sean Miller, and Arizona threatened him and Billis with lawsuits. Where are the lawsuits? And actually, right. We'll have to follow up with this with our legal guy, Justin Watkins. Now that everything has gone down with Sean Miller, I wonder if there's any sort of defamation or any sort of case that Dick Vitale and Billis could throw at Arizona or whatever, Arizona backers for threatening them. Because we see what the story was. But I think it's interesting that Vitale is at least – because, there are a lot of people out there who don't realize the transfer market is dirty. People are recruiting players straight off of other rosters. They're talking to them during the season. There are cash payments. This is happening. Let's tell the story. Let's not act like there's some purity and that, oh, man, this guy's just – come on. Look at the schools that have profited from the transfer portal. Have you seen the run that Auburn has been on? I mean, he's at it again. They got caught. Chuck Person. They dragged him away. And
he got caught. He got caught by a guy who was trying to give money to assistant coaches,
right? Which
was useless. I mean, the whole FBI thing was that's a turd.
The bag men took the fall,
right?
And there's always
bunch of guys other than Chuck Person, because we know him because of his NBA career and he was a great player at Auburn. But listen, it got summed up to me by somebody in college basketball about the FBI investigation. He said, "Listen. This is a quote, a bunch of fucking guys you never heard of went to jail for 30 days over thousands of dollars.
Right.
And for that, taxpayers paid tens of millions of dollars."
That's a good point.
Are we going to call this mission accomplished? Yeah. And what has changed in college basketball? I love the line about a bunch of fucking guys you never heard of, which is true. Right? This was at the end of the day what that FBI investigation is. Now, the NCAA is trying to springboard off that and get Kansas. They're trying to bag a big fish. And it's going to be interesting to see if they can get it done. But, like, the whole thing, like, listen, the bottom line is if you want purity in sports, go the club system and let 15-year-old kids go into the Lakers club system.
Right.
Sign kids. You want to give a kid $5 million when he's 14 years old? And his parents are like, yeah, he's got to go to school, but you need to provide a team for him to play out here because we're not moving to L.A. But yeah, we'll sign and do it. I mean, that's how they do it in soccer, right? And they do it even in this country in soccer. I mean, I can't remember what age Gianluca Busio was signed by Sporting, but he was on the pitch, as I'm trying to give the right vernacular, for Sporting Kansas City at age 16. And you know what? The heavens did not fall. But if you want your college sports, like to me, you should have more. Every NBA team should have to have at least 2 minor league teams, and the truly elites that don't want to go to school go there. If you want to go to school and play ball, we have college baseball and we have minor league baseball.
Or, if you're one of the powers that be in college sports, you should get on board and save your sport by making sure the kids get a little taste so that someone, super enterprising doesn't come in and just steal the whole concept and professionalize them. I was talking about this the other day with
you've seen the new high school league, right?
No, what is it?
There's a league coming that's being partially funded by like Carmelo Anthony, a number of guys, and they're going to pay the top high school players in the country to play. They're going to give them upwards I think it's upwards of $500,000 to play in this league.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And which means they're giving up their high school and college eligibility.
I thought you and I talked about this, that The Rock getting involved with the XFL, like that's going to be his concept. Let's just start skimming the best high school prospects. They don't want to go to college, many of them, and let's give them a couple of years playing professional, semi-pro football and get them ready for the league.
I think it's smart business.
Yep.
Why are you letting colleges suck all the money up? This is supposed to be a capitalist society. We're all pro-capitalism. So why do you have a socialist sports society?
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny is the people that scream the loudest for it,
yes,
are the ones that
scream about socialism.
Why don't we have free market enterprise? Why shouldn't a kid be paid? Who gives a shit if the car dealer wants to give him $1 million to go play at Kentucky? Oh, my school doesn't have a guy that'll pay that. Tough shit. It's capitalism.
5 years from now, what do you think is happening? Do we have really competitive minor leagues for even more competitive now than the NBA and the NFL, or is college football an arms race? And then you actually see like some weird places emerge, like, hey, they've got a lot of fucking cattle money in Wyoming. Now all of a sudden, Wyoming their team has a budget of $500,000 a year to pay players. I mean, there could be some outliers. There could be, UCLA and USC could finally get back to prominence where it's like, hey, do you really want connections in Hollywood? All right, well, here's money and here's all the connections. Come here.
I think there's too much. I think the NBA, and this speaks to our uber elite, our rich people, are also lazy shits as well. So that's good to know, because if they had half a brain, they'd see that it's a multi-billion-dollar industry for minor league football. It's called college football. So organize and own it yourself and generate that revenue. Right? Like that's the soccer model. They own all the minor leagues as well, and they generate revenue off the minor leagues. Now they're in over their heads because I think like something is like the 12 clubs that were in that group are collectively lost like $1.5 billion last year. So they're way overpaying for the talent. They're in this arms race for talent. So one of the reasons why they wanted to do this was they were all going to be guaranteed. I saw some things that like they were guaranteed $3.5 billion over the long haul, or $425 million a year in this deal for them to lock in. Right, that was part of it. So they were doing it for the money. But I mean, I think ultimately, the money's there, and I think when at least the NBA and NFL, and I think baseball is kind of waking up to it. There's money in baseball, and I think when you realize, well, wait a minute, if we own our minor league teams, which is what I think is coming, then we can generate those. Like all those teams are making money. It's always been like, we don't want to fuck with it. But then it's when you go, okay, well, how else do we generate more revenues? We own the pipeline to us. And for football, it's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you have an 18 and over league where the stars are being made right below you? But again, it's their own insecurity and inability. They like that all the talent is at least showcased. They feel like, well, the draft, at least we have a fair chance. Bullshit. Most of you guys suck at the draft. You don't get it at all. You suck at the cap. You suck at the draft. You don't get shit. Daniel Snyder doesn't get shit about how to have a real NFL team. So he'd be even worse because he'd be even shittier on the lower end. He'd spend a shit ton of money on some 16-year-old that would suck, and it would tank his team, right? But like, if you're good, you should be like, yeah, let's open it up. Like, if you're good, what you want is a system that requires you to make more decisions. If you're dumb, you want to let it all ride on one roll. Like, if you want to make $1 million at blackjack and you have $1 million, and you can find out a way to get an advantage of 5%, which you can't. Like, not blackjack, some gambling game. And you can figure out a way to get a 5% advantage, then you don't have to let it all roll on one. But if you're a dipshit, your best play is one roll. Go all in. Bad poker players beat good poker players by shoving all in and catching a card, right? Like, they're dipshits, okay? And so they're too gutless and lazy to go monetize the college model because it's already there for them. And so they don't want to expose how stupid they are. Many of our uber elite are, as you said, trust fund babies. And they're at least smart enough to know, like, if I just don't fuck with the system, I keep getting paid. But if the system changes, I got to do something. And holy shit, all I did was follow daddy around and get out of the rolls after him. You know? I mean, they're dumbasses. Am I wrong? You're laughing at me. Like, do you disagree?
It's a great rant. Yeah, it's a great rant. It is. Because it's all there in front of them to make even more money, but they have money, so they're not that driven.
Oh, and they don't want to look a fool.
Right. It could open them up to even more freaking scrutiny if they fuck that up too.
No.
There you go. Soren's 100% right.
There you go.
All right.
Always been my favorite. Truth from Duluth. Guy
We're
nails it every time.
We're gonna leave some stuff on the cutting room floor. We'll wrap it. What do you got? What do you got? What are you doing on the show tomorrow?
I don't know. Whatever Jed's got on there.
God, you trust Jed a lot.
I do. I do. I trust him more than you do. No, what is tomorrow? Thursday?
I don't trust Jed. He screwed me in a couple of fantasy drafts. So
yeah, it says you. Jeff Hassan, I know, will be along. What is this? What is today? Today would be the 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. There we go. Stump the Chumps. Our buddy Blair Kirchhoff talking college athletics, which we'll discuss these things. And Jeff Passan will be with us. We have not gotten to, and I know we put it on here. Maybe we can talk about it later. One of the things that I touched on it a little bit, but I want to talk about it some more. I'll definitely do it with Kevin Harlan on Friday. Is Steph Curry the most transformative player in the history of professional sports, or at least basketball? That's one of the things I want to discuss at some point. I'm not saying he's the best. Like I started the discussion, I did a little bit of it, and I said, how would you describe Steph Curry? What's the consensus on what Steph Curry is? I'll give you a little tease.
Do you want me to give you? Are you just teasing it, or you want me to answer you?
No. I mean, you can.
For me, he's the greatest shooter in NBA history, and I would follow it up by saying that had he played in the 1960s, he would have averaged 55 points a game, and they would have thought he was some sort of like artificial being that had been placed in the NBA.
All right.
He was dribbling only with his right hand in 1960 and shooting 38%. Steph Curry would have been shooting, from half court and probably 50% from half court, and unbelievable.
Yes. So he like my point is that like Michael Jordan may still be the greatest player of all time. No one ever says Steph Curry is the best player of all time. They say he's the best shooter, right? And I'll answer Brady's question here in a second. But what he's done, like the game started going towards the 3-pointer. But do you remember when the Phoenix Suns were playing exciting basketball with Steve Nash and Stoudemire, and they're playing wide open, run and gun, shoot the three, and Mike D'Antoni got fired because they weren't winning far enough into the playoffs, and they brought in Steve Kerr as the general manager, and Steve Kerr tried to turn him into the Pat Riley New York Knicks. Right? People don't remember that, but he was a disaster as a general manager for the Suns.
Right.
So there were seeds there, but it was considered more of a gimmick. And Steph Curry, and then also Klay Thompson around him, but they won championships, and everybody went, oh, no shit, this is it. Like, it really is true. 33% from three is the same as 50% from two. And holy shit, if we can shoot 40, like, look at what we are. And they went, this simple math that people would joke around about is real. And then the skill level, he drove the skill level that, like, no, guys can be like, he's the first guy in the history of the NBA to average for 11 games, 40 points, shoot 50% from the field, 40% from three, and 90% from the free throw line. He is one of only 4 guys to have 5 made threes and 5 made free throws in the fourth quarter of a game. It's him and Michael Jordan, the only guys to hang 96 points in 2 games at age 33 or older. Like, all the things he's doing right now are Jordan-esque, but nobody talks about him being Jordan, which I'm fine. I'm not going to make the contention that he's Jordan. I would say his team sucks now. It's nothing compared to what the Bulls team was around him. But the things he's doing now are amazing, and I think he has changed the game and how it's played significantly more than Michael Jordan changed the game.
Oh, wow. So 2050, the most impactful player of this era, not LeBron, Steph Curry.
I would say maybe 20
on the court.
Yes.
On the court and the way the game is played, we're not talking about everything.
Much more so, because athletic freak, LeBron, yes. Michael Jordan, yes. Stop, start, elevate, and there's a lot of skill to Michael Jordan's touch level, but he couldn't rain threes, right? I think he had over 100 threes twice in his career. Steph Curry changed the way everybody plays the game.
Right.
You want a 30 for 30? Like, what if I told you that? Right? Like, even like you'd say Wayne Gretzky with the amount of goals he had and points he had, but then teams went and Mario Lemieux, because like whenever somebody raises the bar, what happens is, like, hey, 35% from 3 is great. Look at this guy. He's, Vernon Maxwell made 172 threes. He had the record with 172 threes for a while. That let everybody know making 150, that ain't it anymore. 172 can be made. So if you work in the gym and you work in the gym to where you can make 150 threes in a season, you haven't gotten all the way there. You have to push the bar. And Steph Curry's amazing because he pushed the bar, then he pushed it again and again and again. He took the record at 257 was what it was, and he's taken it to 435. He's made over 5 threes a game in 3 different seasons, this being his 3rd. And so my point is, he's totally now you got a court full of those guys. Aren't freaks. It's a court full of those guys. We're looking for those guys. We're valuing those guys. We're drafting those guys because that's how the game is played. And Michael Jordan, how did you change how you played the game because Michael Jordan came along?
I don't think you can name something that he changed that significantly. So
the point isn't necessarily that that Steph Curry's better than Jordan.
Right.
The point is that Steph Curry transformed the game of basketball like no one ever has.
I never stuck my tongue out, so that doesn't apply.
Sure.
But maybe there were a lot of kids sticking their tongue out.
And to Brady's point, Stump the Chumps is a game we played for 20 plus years. It's basically sports trivia. And my buddy Pete and a few of us, Curtis and Todd Lebo, you ask us a question of sports history, anything you want. If we don't know the answer, we give you a question back. That's either relative to what's going on in sports today or what you asked us. You get that right, we send you to Jazz, a Louisiana Kitchen, best Cajun food around. You get dinner for 2 from us.
God damn. All right. Well, the room took off. They're all going to listen to your show tomorrow. So
yeah, I have no doubt.
I screwed myself there. I was asking for a simple tease of your show. I don't know.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
I was asking for a simple tease of your show, and you came up with like this. You got this great topic, and so now the Vegas audience is like, I got to listen to Petro tomorrow. Well, you know what? I'm telling you right now, I'm texting Ari, and I promise tomorrow